Xin chao, what's up everybody? All right, in this video today, we're gonna talk about reverse migration from the Vietnamese worldwide. It's happening at a very fast rate. Why are all the Vietnamese moving back to Vietnam? Well, I think if you already watch the channel, you can probably begin to answer that yourself. But my first guess would be, they're doing some construction over here. They've been working on this pylon, but I don't know what they're doing. My first guess is why a lot of people are returning. This isn't a big surprise here. It's simply for the cost of living. It's just so much more affordable here than it is pretty much anywhere else, you know, where they're probably living. The boat did stop in a lot of different places. We just met a kid yesterday. His name was Ken. I forgot where he was at. But when a lot of people fled at the end of the war, they ended up in different places. And a lot of people are beginning to make those migrations home and come back to Vietnam. Well, essentially what's happening is they're doing like the guy we met yesterday, like Ken, they're coming back for a trip after, you know, forever never coming back, and they're meeting their aunties and uncles and grandmas if they're still alive, and they're really getting to see, you know, their culture and their side of what's going on. They must be building a bridge over here too. Those are serious pylons. I haven't seen in the news what they've said they're building over here as. They've been working on this nonstop, putting these pylons in. I don't know if they're extending a pier out here or what. But I think they're coming back on a trip. They're seeing how affordable it is. They're seeing how well off the country is. They're seeing, you know, how good really it is. And they're saying, hey, you know, let's come back home and try it out. Now, I've been talking about this stuff for years, but there's a lot of articles running around the news right now. VN Express have one, and let's just read what this guy's one story is right off of here. Minh Tam's decision to return to Vietnam after 8 years in Canada shocked her family and friends, who labeled it as a crazy idea. At 30, Tam had a stable job and life in Canada. She mentioned that she faced no challenges integrating into Canadian society, except for that lingering feeling that over the years she did not quite belong. Living alone, she spent her days working in research at a university and her evenings and weekends working part-time in a shopping mall. Some weeks she worked 7 days, leaving early and returning late. Her routine consisted of buying rotisserie chicken, vegetables, and bread from the supermarket, a solitary, repetitive life. Tam's decision to return to Vietnam was influenced by two key moments. During a visit home in 2023, she felt an overwhelming wave of homesickness as the plane landed at Hanoi's Noi Ba airport. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I think a lot of people are feeling this when they come over. They're feeling this overwhelming sense of a longing to return and a happiness that maybe they weren't finding in other places. Not even just the cost of living, just a feeling of belonging. Now, she's a short-term travel over, probably got a college degree and then lived there. But you see this time and time again. You're getting a lot of the Aussies moving back, like a lot of the Viet Aussies that went to college in Australia. Maybe they've been there 6, 7, 8 years. They've established and they're wanting to return back to Vietnam. There's just simple a mass amount of people coming into Vietnam all over. But one of the biggest amount of people coming in is most definitely 100% the returning of Vietnamese. That usually their family left at the war. Like a lot of these people left at the war, but a lot of like what the article you just read, you're going to see people in different situations. Tam is part of a growing group of returned migrants who once settled abroad but decided to return to their homeland, according to the Migration Profile Vietnam report by international organization. About 500,000 Vietnamese return to the country from abroad each year. 25,000 of them returning immigrants. The trend is rising along Vietnam's economic growth and improved living standards. Huynh Thi Hong, after spending years in the U.S. and Australia, has also chose to return to Vietnam, settling alone in a house in Ho Chi Minh's District 8. The former nurse's husband passed away early and she raised $2 on her own. After she retired, her children invited her to join them abroad. She moved to California, the U.S. in 2019, confident that her English skills and open personality would be enough to adapt. But soon she felt isolated. In the U.S., her daughter, son-in-law, and grandchildren were busy with work. The Vietnamese community, though large, was dispersed and people were too busy to interact. See, she got bored. One day, while sitting in a park, a woman mistakenly gave her $10 thinking she was homeless. The encounter brought her to tears, cementing her decision to return to Vietnam. Wow, that's wild. She went to Australia. After 3 months in Australia, she returned to Vietnam. In 2023, she came back, renovated her house, and divided it in two parts, one for living, another for renting out to a pho shop. Now she enjoys chatting with people all day in the busy. I mean, there's a big difference in that, too. You're not going to have, outside of like the Latina community, I don't know of a lot of communities where you can just talk to people all day. It's open up shop. You know, you have to realize when you're in a Phuong and you're down one of those streets and you go down there, all these house people know each other. They're all talking every day. You know, they're waking up and having coffee together. They're walking by each other's houses. They know each other's dogs. They're returning each other's dog. You know, there's a whole entire ecosystem that is quite unique to the Vietnamese. And it is other places too. Like I said, very big in like the Spanish communities as well. I haven't been enough to Europe and stuff. I'm sure there's some equivalents to that. But as these people are saying, you're definitely really going to have a hard time finding something like that abroad of like what you have. And like the whole wet market, the way you eat food, the extreme social interactions is another thing too. They're just sociable people. They're out and about people. They're going to ask you questions all the time. And you can't like be put off by that, you know. If you're a person that's to yourself and stuff, you can be that here, but you might get annoyed from time to time because people are just, hi. People are just generally friendly, as you just saw there. Like kids are gonna wave, people are gonna ask questions. And they're not discouraged from doing so, you know, they're open to do so. And as for me, you know, there's people that are always not gonna like me on the internet. There's of course a small group of people that always try to take me out in Saigon. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be based in Saigon for at least the next 10 years. I am certainly not going anywhere. I'm not leaving Vietnam anytime soon. I'll be based here for the very, very far future. I love Vietnam. Specifically, I love Saigon, and I got no plans to go anywhere. And you know, what's going to happen is you're going to see more and more people moving back to Vietnam, and specifically back to Saigon too. Saigon's going to have the most growth and explosion outside of Da Nang out of the three cities in the next 3 to 4 years to come. You know, everybody's talking about Da Nang right now. It's in all the news and stuff. I still think it's super overrated, but they just opened up a Dubai to Da Nang direct flight, and it's had explosive results. Like there's a lot of people from Dubai going on over to Da Nang from this direct flight that the Emirates just fired up. So yeah, it looks to be like they're nailing in some concrete deal here to do something, you know. I don't know exactly what something they're going to be doing, but it looks like they're nailing in some concrete deal here. It looks like they're building a pier. I don't know what for. They're renovating this whole area to make it nice, you know, as part of the city. So maybe it's just going to be a part of that. But I think it's a tremendous idea to move back to Vietnam. Your money's going to go a lot farther. You're going to feel a lot more at home with the community. You know, I'm going to be getting on to I've just been here for 6 years as of like a week ago. You're going to see a lot of videos of what it's like to actually be here for 6 years, my long-term, I guess, review and all that stuff. You kind of just heard it though. I'm as happy as when I first moved here. I'm going to be as happy probably in the next 10 years to be here. I'm not in any kind of hurry for a new scenery. I enjoy being home based here. I will be traveling. You know, the plan is to travel every month or two, then travel for a month or two, and then come back for a month or two. That's kind of how it's just going to go. I enjoy doing that. I still have 3 dogs, so there's a responsibility for me on that end as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the content. Let me know if you're interested in moving back to here from America. Of course, we do have a Patreon. Over at the Patreon, that's the best way to support me in additional ways if you don't want to watch the live streaming and stuff like that. You know, I would encourage you, if you're not going to watch the live streaming, because that's a good way to just help on kick.com, to just join up for the Patreon. It's $5 a month. It ain't going to kill you. As ever, I hope this was useful information to some of you guys. I hope it was helpful. I don't really have too much more to say. Let's read like one more quick article out of here. Tan Binh, who lived for 20 years in Germany, decided to return to Vietnam in 2023. Having migrated at age 10, he speaks fluent German and gradually adapted to Western life. He did face racial discrimination and school violence, but the rest of his time in Germany was spent in good living environment and work had been stable. However, he always felt a lack of deep connection and emotional fulfillment that he only found in the strong bonds of Eastern relationships. I started asking myself where I truly belong, he says. I don't even need the rest of that, but he truly belongs probably in Vietnam. I'm telling you, it's a very unique situation, and you're going to read a lot of these stories are the same. As ever, thanks for watching. Stay frosty. Have a good day. We'll see you on the next one. Peace out.